Welcome to the BRUNCH, your Sunday rendezvous with our co-host directly for the beautiful country of Thailand, called Frenchy. And we have to go all the way to Ottawa to find the co-host of the day, Mr. Marko Larabi. Welcome back in the house this morning.
Good morning, sir. Hey, hopefully our show is not like the last couple of Habs games where within the first 30 seconds we're losing 2-0. But let's try to have a strong start, and then we carry that on to the rest of the show. That's my objective for today.
That'd be awesome. So let's dive in right away, warm up. We don't play right now. We play like a solid beginning of the game with the first 5 minutes of the game. So warm up show. Hey, she's back for the second straight week with the BRUNCH. Karine Hans, welcome and beautiful, great Sunday morning BRUNCH with Marko and Cold Frenchy.
Good morning, guys. Happy to be back again this week.
There you go.
Cheers.
Sunday, January 15, 2022, 23. And we're going to talk about something about the Montreal Canadiens. Of course, I have a lot of news around the team during the week. And, of course, the performance of Montreal Canadiens. So what we do at the beginning of the show, we're always talking about the preview of the week, the review of the week. And then this week, they play at 3 games. The Seattle Kraken, 4-0. The Nashville Predator, 4-3. They got the W. The New York Canadiens last night, 2-1. Again, the beginning of the game was not very good for them. That gave them for the week 1-2-0. The last 10 game, 2-8-0. 17-9, 23-3, and the goal differential is getting worse and worse. They are 8th in the Atlantic Division, and they are 27 in the standing, where hopefully they can go 29, but that's not a subject for another time.
Yeah. So let's start with Seattle, I guess. In retrospect, I think Seattle, they just broke an NHL record where they're the only team to sweep a 7-game road trip. So, I think wrong place, wrong time for Montreal, right? Like you're just standing in the middle of a hurricane and just you got clobbered by a team that is just, kind of firing on all cylinders right now, right? So
yeah, the Kraken has definitely been unleashed.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I don't know if that's a fair representation of where their game is at. They got dismantled. The word I would use is absolutely dismantled by them. So, but the Nashville game, guys, I think probably we'd all agree that's probably the best game they've played in a long time. St. Louis has been talking about too many passengers for the last little while. And very hard to think of one player that wasn't engaged in that game. Even Dadonov was dangling around, winning puck battles, things like that. So that Nashville game, very impressive. We need one of those games once in a while, right? For Tank Nation here, I know they're probably happy that we didn't pick up at least a point last night, but just for the team morale and just for their sanity, you need to pick up a feel-good win. And so Nashville certainly was that. And to be honest, the Islanders game, even I think Karine was kind of bored by that game. I saw yesterday that you weren't enjoying the game too much, but to me, it's an extension of what we talked about last week, right? It's the process, it's the grind of St. Louis pulling the reins back, finally talking to the players about playing the right way. So, I think one thing I've noticed, Coach, is the adjustment they made after that Seattle game is the players are all really breaking down towards the bottom of the zone to protect the house. And overall, that is working pretty well. But what that does is that it opens up the points quite a bit. And that's essentially what happened in the Islanders game. That was the game, right? There was 2-point shots. The Islanders, like St. Louis said, they play a hard game, right? They have D-men that can find ways to get pucks to the net, and they go to the net, and that was kind of game over there. But overall, Montembeault, really solid game again last night. So I think again they're on the right path. They are slowly starting to kind of be on the right side of the puck. To me, the biggest difference between the Nashville game and the Islanders game was execution, right? Like the Nashville game, I've been talking about this last couple weeks. I know, Coach, you feel it's more about the reads in the defensive zone. I think it's more about quick, being able to move, like the passes that they're getting to get out of their zone. If those are hitting and they're able to do 1-2 passes and they're out, that's kind of what we saw in the Nashville game, right? They were connecting little passes from behind the net into the front of the net, and then boom, they're out. Last night, again, you saw a couple times where they went D to D instead of going forward. Little passes that just in people's skates, and then you get stuck in your zone. You're cycling. Then they
So
all go back to the house.
why is the reason? What
What is the reason?
Yeah,
I'd say the Islanders probably put more pressure on the D-men, so
for
there's more
checking, the
pressure.
for
So they,
checking,
yeah,
the for
yeah,
checking.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So, but that, so, and like Sandy, we said, right, like it's good to get them that experience. To really, you have to be able to make those plays under pressure and get out of your zone quickly, right? So, listen, it wasn't the funnest game to watch, but to me, like as a hockey nerd, like that's what I want to see. Cole's gonna score his goals. Offensive players are gonna do their thing, but we just need to learn how to play the right way, and slowly we're getting there. So that's kind of my
Well,
takeaway for the week.
I'm not sure I completely agree, to be honest, because last night's game wasn't. I don't think they were playing that much better yesterday. Last night it finished 2-1 basically because Montembeault had a good game. That's the way I see it. They didn't play exceptionally well. I mean, he was the one who stopped the bleeding. It wasn't the team. It wasn't team effort, if you ask me. That was just Montalbo having a good game. Without him, it would have been much worse. And I think the whole week was just a roller coaster, really. It was atrocious against Seattle. Then against Nashville, they played with emotion. They gave their all. They listened to what PK had to say, it seems, and to what Saint Louis has been saying, like commit to team defense and commit to all of that, and they were playing with passion. That's what happened against Nashville. They played with passion. They gave their all. They let it out all on the ice. And it wasn't the same yesterday. They didn't have that passion yesterday. They didn't play as involved as they did on Thursday. And that's what went wrong, if you ask me. And that's why it was boring. I don't need 7 goals to have, to enjoy a hockey game. I can enjoy a game if I see emotion in it. But when it's just like
But
it
if you
was
see the
yesterday, a lackluster effort, then no, not so much. I don't enjoy it.
But if you
That's
look at the
my
high scoring danger chances so let's think back to 5 games where they're allowing like all these, 2-on-1s, 3-on-1s, breakaways. I don't remember them giving any odd man rushes or breakaways last night, right? Like they were stuck in their zone a lot for sure. But that's kind of what I was saying. Like the execution was off, so they weren't getting out of their zone. But it's not like Seattle where they were dismantled, right? So to me, when I say playing well, it means at least they're stopping in the right places in the zone. They are, they're more conscious of that. But the execution was off, like Coach was saying, because the Islanders were pressuring so much. So that's what's going to happen when you're circling in your zone. I don't have the stats in front of me in terms of what the O zone and D zone time was, but we were in the D zone way too long. So in that case, yeah, it's gonna have the look that they're not creating much, and they weren't. Like Sorokin had a pretty easy night, right? Because they didn't really create that much. But to me, it all starts with being able to get out of your zone early. Montebo played well. There was a couple of saves that he made though that were good, but like it's not like there was a lot of odd man rushes and breakaways like we've seen in the
I'm sure
past.
you would like to see the second goal. I think the second goal was like a bad rebound, and you can. The
Yeah,
defenseman, he was
maybe.
behind him. Every time that ball really put the puck in the net. But I think to resume what she said, I think Karen is you need to learn to play on the road versus to play at home. I think that's what I think. You can see the same path for the last couple of games since December. On the road, they struggled more. And on the flip side, you said, Marco, about we don't give a lot. I think the only one I remember, 2-1, it was the Suzuki pass to Jesse Ilonen at the first period, or at the end of the first period, and then the puck go between the skate and the stick of Ilonen. that's pretty much what they got all night. The Islanders plays very well on the structure, everything like that. But Montreal need to learn those kind of stuff like that. But again, a little bit encouraged, but positive a little bit. But I think the first period against Seattle, that was maybe the worst period. I have to go all
Oh
the way
man.
to the Detroit Red Wings. Remember the first game, like the
Yeah,
second game of the
yeah,
year at
yeah,
25 shot,
yeah,
Jake Allen was unbelievable. You have to
yeah,
go all the way like that. We
yeah.
have to move on with a couple of things here. I don't know if I have this. No, that's not. It's going to be what we do at the first half of the show. We talk about who stood out, and I can wait to hear your answer about that one. I have my own, but would be interesting what you would be. And this week we're going to start with Karine. That gave a little bit a better chance to give us the first one.
Well, who stood out? I think I'm gonna have to go with Jonathan Drouin, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, he's had a good week. He's put up what 4 points in his last 2 games, 7 points in his last eight. I dare say that his stock is very, very slowly rising as we approach a trade deadline, but he would need to keep on playing that way for that to actually have an impact on proceedings. I'm not sure he can do it. I mean, we've seen Drouin have flashes of brilliance in the past and then just go back to being the same old Jonathan Drouin not involved. But lately, he's been really involved. He's been playing with heart, and I don't know what it is. Is it because he got demoted to the fourth line and he's like, okay, yeah, I need to kick myself and get back in gear here because it's not looking good, or if he just suddenly had an epiphany that, wow, my contract's running out, what am I going to do next year? I don't know what it is, but this week, Drouin's been playing well, he's been involved, he's been back checking, he's been doing it all, and it's been quite a while since we've seen that. So yeah, Jonathan Drouin for me this week.
Was well done, Marco.
Yeah, yeah. That's probably who I'd have chose as well too.
That's why I
I
start with
think with
her.
Dwayne. Yeah, yeah. There you go. I think with Dwayne, I think it's all confidence. It's all between the ears. I felt the last game, the one where we thought that he scored, but then the
Yeah.
goal was taken back. I found the very next game he was totally invisible. That crushed his spirit a little bit. But then I think when you have a game where you have 3 assists in one game, then that you get a little bit of that mojo back, right? So let's see how long that lasts. Last week I chose Jake Evans, and to be honest, I might even choose him again. Even though he got injured part in the game, like I so impressed. It's little things though, like we know how hard of a worker he is and everything else, but what I've been noticing is the energy that he brings to the team outside the ice too. Like if you watch him, like you see footage of him in the locker room, like just in the tunnel yesterday. So all the players, they have they have that routine when they're in the tunnel and getting ready. He's like running down the hallway, right? Like he's running, he's adding a lot of energy. So and it shows a lot. Like you see, like the relationship he has with Toffoli, and it seems like whenever you see pictures of like a social gathering with the Habs, like Jake Evans is right there, right? So he seems like a really, really important part of this team and one. So hey, I'll give him a shout out 2 weeks in a row. He's somebody I think he's going to really be missed if he misses a long period of time here because he was really driving the play on that line quite a bit and just indispensable in terms of shorthanded minutes that he gives you face offs. So I'm going to go with Jake Evans again since Karine stole Dwayne from me. Then I'll go that way.
Yeah, that's great. Matter of fact, Dwayne, I think it's something we don't. Since the beginning of the year, you have something happening to him. First of all, you work with the sport psychology for the new guy. You work with the Montreal Canadiens. But if you look about him, when he was held to scratch or happening to him, Karine, and he's always been positive on the interview. He's never go against anything. He just accept the situation and everything like that. So it's a new transformation about Jonathan Drouin. He was my player too, but we're going to talk about him the next couple of minutes, so we're not going to go deeper. But when you win only one game and you don't pop up like a lot of goal against Charlotte, and then tonight, yesterday against the Islanders, and because he played maybe his best game of the year, it was Sakoski against Nashville Predator. Play over 60 minutes, played a lot of good minutes, and I think for me it was his best game about engagement, physical, block shot. Again, like you
Yeah,
said
those block
earlier,
shots are
the
yeah, yeah.
motivation of the peak is and everything like that could make it fun. But I think he didn't have a lot of bad game recently for Sarkowski. Again, he's on the progression, and that's what I'm looking for. So, yeah, I mean, like, at the end of the day, honestly, we are both of you are the right players. Evans and DROUIN was the pick to get that one over there. So, good way about this one over there. Let's move on now for the news of the week and some injuries around the team. So maybe some of you have some kind of update, and if you want to talk about about injuries, so I don't know, Karine, have some kind of update, and we can add more after
Yeah,
the.
for the last 2 days, Madison has been practicing in a regular jersey, so it's not out of the realm of possibilities that he could be back quite soon. Jake Allen as well is day to day, and yesterday Martin said we wouldn't rule out the possibility that he'd be back today, so we'll see with that one. As for Gallagher, as we discussed, I said last week that I was starting to get worried that he might end up on LTIR before long, and the news came that he was out for at least 6 weeks now. It's not looking good, is it, at all? Goulet, nothing new on that front, except to say that Jake Evans' injury yesterday reminded me of the Goulet injury, so I'm really worried that we might just lose Jake Evans for 6 to 8 weeks as well if we're lucky. I mean, that kind of looked like a strained ligament. I'm hoping it didn't like completely ruptured. That would be an even longer absence, but it definitely didn't look good. I'm kind of dreading the Habs getting back home and knowing exactly what's wrong with Evans, especially since he's been playing so well, as Marco's been saying. So, yeah, fingers crossed on that front. Nothing new on Monahan that I
Jake
can
Allen.
think of.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
I wonder if they do. I hope that they, like, if Evans is gone, I hope that they don't rush Monahan back or anything. Just if he's ready to come back soon, great. But just put Doc at center. You still have four guys that can. St. Louis, technically, I still have four guys that can play center. There's another podcast that was saying, oh, we should bring up Harvey Pinard, but he's not a center either. So maybe worst case, you bring in Belzile, who can play center. I don't know, but it's not, it's not a lot of depth in that position right now with these injuries. So
The
I
only way
say,
I think they Pitlick.
yeah, he's got he's killing it down there right now too. I got 13 points in the last.
But is it because the center position? I just mentioned his name.
Yeah.
It's not about that.
But he's killing. He's doing really well in Laval recently too.
Yeah, like Karen, I'm worried. I'm not worried. Hopefully, it's not like a surgery, ECL or something like that. That's only my concern about Jake Evans. Really bad injury, not locked 2 seconds at the first period, and they start this at the beginning of the period. They have already a fight between Nelson and him to win the puck at the beginning of the game, and they come back face to face at 2 seconds, and now they try to again hit each other, anything like that. So
he's a big boy too. You don't want him falling on your knee.
Exactly. We're going to go about the fun news happenings on the week, and we're going to talk about fun. Maybe we can add. I just put the biggest one. First of all, we talk about injuries. Hurt Vincent Roller, the 75 overall pick for the Montreal Canadiens, have a really bad incident. Have to get out on the stretcher. It's only game. I don't know. It was Wednesday night, Tuesday night, but it was not pretty. And now he was released from the hospital, but resting and out indefinitely. So glad he's out of the hospital, but we don't know exactly the gravity of the injuries. At least some one of you know a little bit more update for what I just mentioned.
No,
nothing bad aside from the fact that it was really hard to watch that footage. I mean, he fell on his head, just out cold, and then kind of had the seizure, so you could see his legs and arms moving, but he wasn't there anymore. So yeah, just glad that he's out of hospital now and just resting. That's good news, because it could have been much worse.
Anything, Marco?
No, very troubling, but glad the kid's doing a bit better. And
the next one is Becky Subban at the ceremony, again, an Nashville Predator. I will let Karen talk a little bit more about PK, and then we can add more if we want to, Marco.
that was heck of a night at the Bell Center. I was lucky enough to be on the press gallery for that night because of the Club 1909 rewards, and it was just brilliant. You know how we often say that PK Subban was a polarizing figure when he was with the Habs. Some liked him, some didn't. Well, on Thursday, everybody liked him. It was nothing but cheers. People were chanting his name. People were, just cheering him on so much. It was great. It was great to see. The tribute video might only have been a minute and 20 seconds, but it gave me goosebumps. I mean, everything was in there, the big hits, the big shots, the interaction with the community, the blown kiss to Elise Beliveau, everything was there. It was just perfect. And then the way Subban talked as well, I mean, it gave us an insight as to who the guy really is. The way he said that for him, you're not defined by your achievements, but by what you inspire in others. And I think that's PK down to a T. I mean, he did all of the time. He did try to inspire his teammates, even though he did it perhaps not in the best way, stealing the spotlights, many felt. But, Carey Price was saying in his interview with La Poche Bleue that things were entertaining when PK was there. He had positive energy. Everything was always fun with PK. And I think it just showed on Thursday as well. Just the way he spoke was brilliant. The message he had to give to the players as well. If you leave it all on the ice, whatever happens, these guys, meaning the fans, will love you. And we couldn't have said it better. And then to finish it with one last 0005 was just pure brilliance. It was like a Hollywood scenario. And as we were watching the tribute video, the Bell Center kind of we saw PK on the big screen, and in the background, I saw Carey Price. And I was telling my friend, "Oh, look, Price is there. They got a 0005." I was going completely crazy. So yeah, the fan in me just overtook the writer there, and I was just like, "Yes, let's go for the 0005." I would have liked to have at the same time a little, how they do a picture-in-picture sometimes. I would have liked to see a picture-in-picture with Michel Therrien's face. I saw that in the bottom half. That would have been brilliant. But yeah. So that was perfect for me. I think it's a great way to end the chapter, the Subban and Price chapter in Montreal, because let's face it, Carey's not going to play again. So that was just brilliant to see both of them walk off into the sunset together. I liked it. Very nearly shed a tear. So, yeah.
Marco?
Well, all I can say is PK is a pro, right? Like he, nailed it. Like he knew exactly all the right things to say. The Beliveau thing. He had the sick children. Like, so he's a pro. There's a reason why he's going to be a media professional. Like so he brought exactly what you expect he would bring, and it was great to see. Great homage to one of the most electrifying figures, certainly in this generation of Habs players. So it was a fun night, and I agree. I originally thought about "Respect Team Concept" by Michel Therrien. So it's listen, like that would be a fun discussion for another time if we had more time. Like I in a way, like you you love what PK brought, but you can understand how it would be frustrating for a coach to manage that situation, right? Not that he's flashy or whatever, but if you remember clearly, there's times where okay, so the wingers are gone, and they're waiting for the puck, and PK decides to take an extra whirl back, right? And so all the players have to come back, and so I think, like Martin Saint would say, right, there's concepts to play within, so you can be electrifying, have energy, do creative things, but within a team concept. And I think Michel Therrien, that's what he was trying to do. Banning like a low five is not necessary. I don't think that's the way that you do that. But so listen, it was a fun night. It's an interesting discussion though for us to have when we're talking about team concepts and what we're trying to build in Montreal, right? So, but I agree. Like I call it the Steve Bégin factor, right? Like the fans will love you if you work hard, and even if you're not that talented, but if you leave it all on the ice, then like Steve Bégin, they'll love you no matter what. Like that's kind of my takeaway there.
Yeah, PK Subban just show up 10 years too late, too early. I think he will fit very well. He just give you the old school, Michel Terrien, everybody in Montreal, everything like that. Imagine what's going on now with the Carolina Storm and everything with Zegras and all the new generation. He creates something like nobody understood anything about that, unfortunately. And on the flip side, he was he's the Indiana Jones 2.0 with a jacket and the new version, maybe in the next movie for Indiana Jones, wearing something like that. But it was Piqué Subban and a Piqué Subban for me. The only thing I would be curious, Karen, do you know why he did not do like a face-off, traditional face-off?
Honestly, I have no idea, but I didn't feel like it was missing from the homage or anything. I didn't even think about it until you mentioned it. To be honest, I don't know. Weird.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just
Let's
feel
start a
like
new
that. Usually
controversy.
they put, they shut down, they make a face off and then they take a picture. I don't know. It's just like
I blame
not
Mark Bergevin.
negative.
It was Mark Bergevin's fault.
Yeah, I don't want to be negative. It was not like negatively I was said to you guys. We got the call up, Jesse Allen, and then return of the Anthony Richard. Just like 30 seconds each one of you. What do you think the performance of Allen sent with he played with the Montreal?
I did like what I've seen from Ilonen so far this year. I mean, he's not brand new to the league. He played 15 games last season, so he did look like he belonged. He even got some reps on the power play, and he's missed quite a few chances, but you can see that he's got offensive instincts there. I mean, that pass to Kirby Doc in the Nashville game was just brilliant. He waited just long enough for that to have an easy tap in. So yeah, I think there's a potential there, and it's nice to see. Yeah.
Marco?
Agree. Where's this guy been all year, man? Like, I think we've all been waiting for him to come up. So, pretty good season. Like, I think we had heard that he wasn't having the best season to start. Like, wasn't his best start, but he definitely picked it up and well-deserved call up. And I think he's made his place in the NHL now. Like, we just need to clear some. Like, is there something I wanted to bring up this week, guys? Like, at the beginning of the year, would any of us bet that Armia, Hoffman, DROUIN would all still be here halfway through the season? Like, it's shocking that they haven't been able to do anything to make room
Well,
for
Not me.
some of
not
those
so
guys.
much. It's not so shocking because their stock
I don't
is
know,
not high, is it? So I
but
wasn't expecting them to get out early. No.
I remember our shows at the beginning of the year where like we were like, okay, like how like there's like no space. How like they're gonna have to move these guys this week. They're gonna move this week. But so I think we all felt that there was some urgency that they were gonna move. I just might like yeah, it's just interesting mindset compared to the beginning of the year.
Yeah,
You know,
two things I would say to you, two factor injuries and then the salary cap around the league. That would be
yeah,
two reasons
I'm not
why
saying
they
it's
not
easy
move
to. I'm
anybody.
not saying it would have been easy to move them, but I'm just saying that at the beginning of the year, looking at the depth chart, we had a hard time understanding or believing that these guys could like how are they going to manage this? And it's like it's January and they're still all
Yeah,
there, right?
at he was talking about 14 forwards, 6 defensemen, or 7 defensemen, or 15 forward. And while you can keep Sakasku out there, yeah, I understand your point. But I
Yeah,
think turn around, 1 week they put that enough on almost on the ER, faking an
yeah,
injury.
yeah, yeah,
About
yeah.
that. Trade deadline, we'll talk about this later. I know, Marco, you have to go. So we're going to talk about this quickly so you can go and then Karine can continue that conversation. I want to review the first half of the season. And when I said that, you don't have to go deeper. But what I bring here, guys, I talk about one option here. The goalie, injuries, rookies, money and dock or something else. I just want to give you some point, the point, maybe you can talk about this. So and overall, what do you think about the first 41 game for the Montreal Canadiens? I think it was 16, 22, and 3. Karen can correct me, but I think
Yeah.
I'm pretty good.
Yeah, no, I think that's right. Excuse me. So
Yeah.
just to continue that same thought, right? Like, it's in a way a bit surprising that like we haven't really been able to do anything, other than Kovacevic. It's really the only move that he's been able to make so far. So again, like I think during the summer we said, like some of the trades that Hugo's done were kind of the easy ones, right? Like trading to Foley, not super hard. Like he had a good contract, pretty easy to move. I'm not saying that he's made bad trades. Like some of the trades have been really good. You maybe start doubting a little bit the Lehkonen trade, but anyways, like to me, the really hard and difficult thing to do is move some of these bad contracts, right? So we haven't been able to do that yet. So in that sense, it's a bit disappointing that we haven't been able to do that because, again, we could have seen Ylonen in NHL all year and get some development and things like that. So from a Hugo perspective, a little bit disappointing on not being, but again, it's not surprising because they said that they don't want to package assets to get rid of bad assets. I tend to disagree with that, but that's their point of view. In terms of their first half of the year, we were a bit spoiled, I would say. So in a way, it's kind of compared to Ryan Paling's first game where he scored a hat trick. It's probably the worst thing that ever happened to his career because it set unrealistic expectations for the rest of his career. In a way, the strong start to the season might have been the worst thing that could have happened to the Canadiens because all summer we're trying to manage people's expectations, but they come out and they're close to a playoff spot, 20, 25 games in. So, hopefully we can, not lose those fans and they still understand that this was part of the plan and they're not overly negative. But listen, like they are where we thought they were going to be. But to me, my biggest takeaway is I'm a little disappointed that they haven't been able to really clear some cap space. I know it's not easy, but that would have been really high marks if they were able to do that. I got to go, guys, but I got to go though. But right. Sorry, I have to leave early, guys. Have a great weekend. Thanks, Habs Brunch. Thanks, Habs people. Bye-bye.
I will see you next week. Thanks so much, Marco. Have a good one.
Thanks.
Bye-bye. I think it's this one. Here we go. It's appear right away. Like we do magic.
Ooh. I tend to agree with Marco that we were a bit spoiled in the first half. I mean, the Canadiens, they just, exceeded expectations. I think I said last week that was mainly because goaltending, they were just punching above their weight, really. And then when the goaltending magic wore off, then we saw what the Habs were really about. And it's not a contending team. No one should have expected them to be a contending team either. But I can't agree that I'm disappointed with them not being able to shift some players out, really, because you can't trade in a vacuum. You need a trading partner, and very rarely will team general manager want to take you a deadwood, and that's what those guys are right now, deadwood. I mean, DROUIN's done lately he's played well, but for the last 2 or 3 years it's been a right struggle. Armia, God, Bergevin gave him a huge contract that no one else is going to want to pick up. As for
I don't want to cut you. I'm sorry if I cut you, but think about, because you follow very well hockey, you always in news. How many trades we got since October? Like, we don't have a lot of trade in NHL. You know what I mean?
No,
like,
we
it's
don't.
not like he did, like he have to, or it's not easy. So for me, it's like, I don't think so. I don't think so. He could do it a lot about that. So I just want to open up the door because you talk about that, those.
Yeah, but that's a good point as well. There's not many trades in the NHL because the money is so tight. I mean, it's really hard to make a move in season. In the off season, it's easier. And as for Marco going back to Toffoli trade and saying it was easy, well, yeah, because Toffoli was performing. He was a good player. People will want to get a good player, and that's just the way it goes. But will people knock on the GM's door to get Armia, Drouin, HOFFMAN? No, they won't, and that's just normal. That's the reality of a rebuild. When you come into a job and you're stuck with what the previous person in that post did, well, it can take some time to tidy up things, and that's what Kent Hughes is doing right now. I don't know what's going to happen because I don't see him managing to move Mike HOFFMAN really. Especially now that he's got like a season ticket on the press gallery, it seems, in the last few games. And Thursday on the press gallery, normally all of the LT scratchers are together on the press gallery watching the game. But the only one who was on the press gallery Thursday night was Mike HOFFMAN. He was all alone. Pezzetta wasn't there. and the injured guys weren't there. He was just there, and he looked to be really down on his luck. To be honest, I think he realizes in what kind of a mess he's in right now. And as a fan, normally I might have liked to talk to the player, but looking at him there, it's just like, yeah, no, back off, don't talk to him. He's not having a good time. So I don't know what's gonna happen with him, but right now that's just an immovable contract. And the same I think can be said for Armia. I think maybe, just maybe, someone might be interested in Anderson because he's a power forward and those are rare. But even then, I mean, he's been kind of underperforming. So for 5.5 a year for what, another 1, 2, 3, 4 years, that's a tough sell as well because money's tight. So yeah, that's
Yeah.
that's what I said.
For me, the first half is like the surprise more like what I expect. They are what is supposed to be on my standing. I put them 29, so it was not shocking. I knew the month of December. I think the beginning of the season, the rookies completely played better than my expectation. I talk about Cooley and Arbor Jacky, and then Jordan Harris. They played so much great at the beginning. Then the goaltender was like, stop like the goal value above. It was like unbelievable with Jake Allen at the first 4 weeks, and then some Montembeau had been really good since the beginning of the season. So that maybe changed everything. Then Sean Manon and Kirby Doc, I think they have the show better on that way. When you talk about that enough Hoffman, everybody else, I think they was expect them to be a little bit better, and they never reached those kind of the expectation for the Montreal game. So for me, the first half was pretty good overall. It's just we got that slump of 7-8 game, 1-8-0 or 2-9-1 or something like that, where it was difficult watching in December. You had 3 games like 7 goal, 9 goal, and 6 goal, right? But yeah, you see the progression, and that's for me. That's the most important things. And Sakoski getting better, the Doc is going better, and then the rookie Jacky and everybody else. So I think for me, first half overall, it's not a surprise. That's what I said. I think the only disappointment for me, it would be the power play and the special team. The PK won the worst, like like 56%. You follow all the game we got, and then the power play get a little bit a good stretch like weeks ago with 3 goals. If not, December was really bad. Now they pick up 30. Now yesterday they did not score, but it's a one area they really struggled since the beginning of the year on special team, and that's only thing they need to get better for sure for Martin Saint-Louis. But overall, I'm not like disappointed. And that's what I expect about them. And then I think for me, it's like you and me. I'm sure Cole Caulfield, like 26 goal, 25 goal. It's amazing. Nick Ski, until he got that slump, it was almost like 1 point per game. He have a lot of good things happening for the Montreal Canadiens overall for the first half. So, anything you want to add before we move on? Or?
No, that pretty much says it all. I think you nailed it down there.
Awesome. I don't want to put on the like you do. You write a lot every day, or most of the days. You write about Montreal Canadiens, French and English, and so I do a video every day, and I don't try to create some kind of controversy, but I try to create something maybe never thought, and I think it's so. The last couple of days, 3 days after Piquet Souben, I make 2 videos. One of them is like I will start with this one. It's Mike Hoffman buyout. So what I said, it should be a divorce between the Montreal Canadiens and Mike Hoffman. The healthy scratch. I see a kind of body language on the bench and behavior. Everything. We know the reputation, Mike Hoffman, and everything. So I go a little bit deeper and I check about the contract next year, 4.5. If they buy him out, it's 1.1 first year, 1.6 second year. That's it. That's all. Some people put him on the waiver. Some people, everything like that. What would be, are you willing to do it? Or what direction you going to do with Mike Hoffman if after the season? It's not right now. It's more about the after the season. It was my video about.
I don't think it's worth buying him out. I mean, there's only 1 year left on his contract. You bite the bullet, and if worse comes to worse, you just send him down to the American League because the Canadians don't actually need that cap space right now. They're not going to be contending right now, so I don't see the point in buying him out at all. You just, it was a mistake from the past regime. You deal with it and you move on when it's over at the end of next season. That's the way I see it. I wouldn't, I wouldn't want to have his contract count against the cap for 2 seasons instead of one. Maybe if it had been a longer type of deal, but with just 1 year left, now you let it go. Just wait for it to end.
On the flip
That's the way.
side, do you see, because the relationship between him and Martin Saint Louis, where it would be maybe helping Martin Saint Louis to have a easier year without Hoffman around and the locker room and everywhere, because we know it's going to be a little bit like a bad apple around and everything. Do you think it would be more be fit for Martin Saint Louis uh, on a daily basis?
Well, that might make it easier on Saint Louis, but you'll get the same result if you just send him down to the AHL. Like, bury him down there. He won't be in Saint Louis' way. He won't be around the team, and he won't cause any problem.
So
Just
your
won't have
option
him.
would be more to waive him during the
Yeah,
beginning of the season.
yeah. I
Oh,
mean, no one's gonna pick him up. Let's face it. So why not waive him?
okay. Yeah, it makes sense. As for me, the purpose was to say, okay, what would be an option to remove him around the team, and maybe earlier you and Marco talk about give a chance to Allen or Eneman or I don't know another
Mhm.
one to play a part on the Montreal Canadiens. My next question about the video was like a couple of days ago was Jonathan Drouin extension, and it came after they got 3 pass and everything like that. Now the extension is about this one before. It's not like a 4 years. It's a 1 year at $1.5 million for the upcoming year for both agreement. Where he said, "Look, we're going to take a risk with you. We're going to get around." And this is about, of course, I said, if you have a good second half of the year. So we said to you on the 41 game he played, he got 28 to 32 point example. And the Montreal for 1 year, he got an extension at 1.5. And then you can see after that if both parties are agree. What would be what do you think about that suggestion?
To be honest, I don't see it happening. I don't think Dwight could produce that consistently. So I think that's a purely hypothetical question. But when I was speaking about dealing with the mistake of the previous regime, I mean, I'm sorry to say this, but Drouin's got the biggest mistake tag on him. I mean, sacrificing Sergachev to get him, and then that experience backfired. I think Kent Hughes and Jeff Gorton and all that are just looking forward to cutting ties with Drouin. That was a failed experiment that didn't work. And I think Jonathan Drouin wants out of Montreal as well. You said that he's been more positive in his interviews and all that, but I think anyone who's had mental health issues and who's consulted psychiatrists and stuff like that, they've been told you need to learn to let go of the things you can't control. And Drouin knows he can't control the media, he can't control what's being said about him. But I think it's a weight on his shoulders anyway. I think the guy is made to play somewhere where there's going to be less scrutiny and he's going to be more free. I think he'll be the right thing for both the team and the guy if he just, you know, goes away after this season. I don't see an extension happening. I really don't.
All
But
right.
good for the guy if it does happen.
Yeah. Last one is like I do a lot of prospect prospect, talking about prospect, the upcoming draft. I follow a lot, many of them, and then someone posed me this question, and I turned around and said, "Yeah, I don't know." So the question is about Michkov. Do you draft Michkov if you have an opportunity at the draft? The reason behind, you have two reasons. First, 3 years contract after this season, right? So when he got drafted in July, he have 3 more years to play in KHL. Second thing, the situation with the country, everything like that. So, do you think at some time, like a owner like Molson said to the GM, "Hey, look, no Michkov here. I don't want this." Like a little bit what happened with MEILLEUR or everything like that, and or another situation, a player make something a mistake, and we said no, we don't want that, everything like that. So I know it's maybe deep. I don't want to you on the bad spot here, but I just want to share it with because the question came to me, and I realized, so whoa, that's maybe a good question to answer.
To be honest, I don't think Jeff Molson is meddling and telling his hockey guys don't draft him. I don't want to see that. I think Jeff Molson has really taken a back seat now, and he's given control over to Hughes and Gorton. But as for drafting Michkov, I don't think they would do it. Not so much because anything from Russia is kind of radioactive right now, but more because of that 3-year contract. The Canadians are rebuilding right now. Yes, that's true. But in 3 years, you'll want them to be contending. You'll want to have your guys in place then, and already having them gel together. You don't want to be in the building stage in 3 years. You want to be in the contending stage in 3 years. So I don't think bringing someone from outside down the line in 3 years would be helpful, if it makes sense. I think they'll rather draft someone who's got about the same skills and potential and just have their hands on him and be able to develop him as they wish in the next 3 years, and not just
So I'm
have
going to
them in
give
the.
you another option here. The Montreal pick number 6, and they pick number 9 on number 10. So Mishkov is still on the board because usually it should be on the board until 1, 2, 3, and 4. You have Fantilli, Carson, Bedard, and Mishkov. But now 2 teams skip on it. Whatsoever is now Montreal, he picked number 6, and they have Mishkov on the board. What do you do?
To be honest, I think I'd stay away. I know some people will just, throw me stones for that one, but I think I'd stay away for the reasons I've said before. I want to have my prospects under control and be able to work with them in the next 3 years, not have them the KHL. And, he's got a 3 years contract, but you know what happens in the KHL when a player says, yeah, I want to go over next year. They start playing them less and less and less, and they almost force them to sign yet another contract. I mean, Romanov in his last year in the KHL was barely used because his team was trying to get him to sign again. So you don't need that aggravation, to be honest. I wouldn't pick him.
Okay.
But that's just me.
Yeah, that's okay. Again, it was not again. I think because they picked number 9, maybe I would said maybe they would take Mishkov. Right now, Mishkov left the KHL, play on the Sochi right now in Finland. But yeah, a very good weeks this week, by the way. We'll just move on to the next graphic. It was already set up. Marko was out there, so we'll get you and me together here. I want to talk about a little bit now these questions about the preview of the second half. It's more about a little bit, Karen, you can tell us what you're looking for now from today, this week, until the end of the year. As a fans and what you follow the team all the time. So what are your expectations? Maybe not expectation, more about what you're looking for.
What I'm looking for is emphasis being put on development strongly. So I think we've all seen at the World Junior Championships that Bedard is just an amazing talent. I think the trade deadline action is going to happen sooner rather than later. So if, Monahan comes proof that he's okay, he's still healthy, that the injury was just a broken foot and nothing to do with his hip, and that he can still play, I see him being traded later, sooner rather than later. And I would say the same. There's a bit of chatter about Edmondson as well. So what I'd like to see is, maximize your gains by trading those guys as soon as possible. And then that means that you're probably going to lose more games as well because, you unload good guys that are helping you play. So you maximize your chances of having good draft picks. So, and we've seen last year that Hughes isn't worried about trading early. He did it for Toffoli. I think we'll see trades earlier, but it's not going to be the trades that everyone would like to see. It's not going to be Armia being shipped out, HOFFMAN or DROUIN. It's going to be valuable players that people are keen to go after. That's what I expect. And then we'll be able to see more of Yelanen and, maybe Richard would get called back, Hervé Pinard, young guys like that. I mean, and then it's going to be a matter of Saint Louis being able to make the atmosphere in the room good, even though there's going to be a lot of losses. You need your development team to be able to step in and tell those young guys, it's not the end of the world. It's a tough season, but you got to focus on the positives here and all that. So yeah, that's what I expect, really.
Yeah, I think good point. I'm laughing because they hear the fireworks behind me. They hear the boom behind me. That
Yeah, I do hear.
so
I'm like, what's going on there?
so for some reason here in Thailand they have fireworks every night. So it's like someone. It's not like the city. It's just the people buy something and they boom this until 2 o'clock in the morning. But that's funny. The door is open.
Maybe
Sorry.
they're just celebrating that it's been 10 years
Not,
since
not
the
at all.
buyout
Like
of
if people
Scott
ask me,
Gomez.
have something special, I said no. It's no Martin Luther King here in Thailand.
Okay.
But yes, second half, you're absolute about this. Would be interesting because only Monahan and Edmondson and Drouin could bet something in the trade some point, but not like a big return. I don't know. A team like Dallas can use him, have a special role on the power play. Every time that they talk about Colorado from that, I'm not sure he would go there. But Monahan and Edmondson are really the two names now. Anderson can pick up there, but I still believe they like him and Montreal Anderson for one more year. I would be shocked they trade him this year, Anderson, and maybe more a little bit more during the summer. If they make a move, I think an Anderson could become a little bit a Romanov. Karine during the summer at the draft or something like that. Again, I'm just speculate about this. For me, second half is about the progression, like you said. I want to see Sarkowski a bit more, what it will look like the second half. Really good interview about Vincent Le Cavalier. I don't know if you listen to the French station, the morning 98.5.
Mm-hmm.
Think
BPM
so.
Sports, anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyhow, so you have a good interview with Martin Vincent Le Cavalier explain about how he follows Sarkowski every game, a report, and it's really interesting about this. Say, look, when he play, he had 13 goals, 12 assists his first year in NHL. Le Cavalier played 12 minutes per game, and he said, "I like what I saw from him, his progression." And he's really happy about Sarkowski. So it's very unique. We don't hear a lot about Le Cavalier, his role inside the organization. He follow a lot of scouting and everything. So I just want to say this. The second half, if I said to you, 41 game to go, possibility of 82 points. At the end of the day, they did 35 points the first half. What would be your expectation for a number of the point for the Montreal Canadiens? I make a kind of vote as on the week on my channel. So what would be your number, the point they would get Montreal? Is it the same number, 35, lower, above?
It's gonna be lower. I think it's definitely gonna be lower. I mean, after seeing what happened in December, and there's gonna be some unloading of good players as well. So yeah, I think it's gonna be lower. I won't risk putting a number, but it's gonna be below what they did in the first half. Yeah.
Yeah, and then I think for me, I put about 25 to 28. The reason I said that, you have two reasons. First, the trade deadline, you're going to lose a couple of pieces of the puzzle. Secondly, the schedule is still hard. And talking about the schedule, let's see this week, the preview of the week. Rangers tonight, the Winnipeg Jet Tuesday, the Florida Panthers Thursday, and then Toronto Saturday. So, and this I can function like this next week with two big team next week, and then they finish with Detroit, Ottawa back to back for the month of the January. So it's not looking great about this for this week. So what do you expect from Montreal this week? Again, those four teams for the Montreal.
It's not gonna be an easy one, is it? I'm gonna go like last week. I'm gonna say they might manage to squeeze out one win, but that's it.
Yeah,
For the rest, it's gonna
maybe
be
1 point for me. Maybe Florida, maybe they can get there. But Winnipeg Jet and the Toronto Maple Leafs, that's not going to be easy. But today, I don't expect no chance to beat the Rangers tonight. Again, the Rangers at home, and then they play Montreal back to back night. It's not going to be easy. Did you enjoy? Did you? I don't know if you pay attention. Martin Louis changed his line after Jake Evans left the game. He put Ireland in. He put Sarkowski on the first line, Caulfield and Suzuki. If you want to go back to that, he put Jonathan Drouin at some point there, but I think he's going to bring him back on the center. But you have a chance tonight. which one you would like to get there? Do you think they would bring back Mike Hoffman now and they put Hoffman there, or would you like to put to Ireland with the Caulfield and Suzuki?
I think that we might see Hoffman back in the lineup, and I think it's gonna depend if Madison's ready as well. If Madison's ready, we go back to 6D and 12 forwards, meaning that both Pezzetta and Hoffman should be back. But we'll have to wait and see. I think yesterday what happened was basically, they were down to 10 forwards, so they didn't have a choice but to try different things. If Evans is out long term, as I expect, I think that it's time to bite the bullet and put Doc back at center and see what can happen. Then when Monahan's ready to return, Doc can go back to the first line if needed. But for now, I think he's the one that I would put down at the center, and I'd leave DROUIN on the fourth line as well, centering the fourth line. Yeah, that's what I would do.
Yeah, Monahan, I think will be back. I don't see him back today. I think we'll be back more during the week.
No, not today. Definitely not today.
Yeah,
but
okay.
I think he's meant to be coming back soon.
Yeah,
they said 2 weeks.
I was just talking about the game today. I apologize. I did not clarify about this one over there. Before we have about a little bit more minute, like a couple of minutes, I want to just give you an idea about the prospect Montreal Canadiens. A couple of players have a good thing about this. If I put you a ranking, I put Beck, Roy, Farrell, Mézard, Henneman, Kidney. That would be looked that way, or you make a modification of what player you're really thinking on the ranking as a forward. Then we're going to do the defenseman.
What, you want me to rank them?
Yeah, or the section I put that way with there. Do you feel like it's comfortable about this, or you see like maybe Farrell should be in front of Roy or Beck, or?
To be honest, I don't think I follow the prospect nearly enough to be able to rank them. What I will say about Owen Beck is that he impressed me a lot, but he's not going to be more than a third line center in the NHL, and I think that we need to manage expectations about that right now. I mean, I saw some site report that a scout had said that he thought that in the long run Beck might have a better career than Shane Wright. Of course they didn't say which scout said that or was supposed to have said that, but I think, calm down, people. Beck is good at face-off. He's a good player, hard worker, but I don't see him as anything more than a third-line center in the NHL. But, we'll see down the line. As for the ranking that you've got the others, like I said, I don't see them. I don't follow, I can't watch all of those play.
Not a problem. I would change this. You see a guy right now, nobody is over 6 foot or over the fact is Henneman. Do you feel a long term it could be a problem to get Farrell, Roy, Mézard, Kidney about like 5'10", 5'11", 6 foot, with with Caulfield at 5'7"?
Depends who you surround them with, doesn't it? I mean, if you keep Anderson, if you got Slavkovsky, those are big guys with big bodies. You're fine. It's just a matter of finding that balance. Really, if you surround them with big bodies, you'll be fine. If you've got another coming of the Smurfs, then obviously yes, it's going to be an issue like it was in the early 90s, early 2000s, I think, that the Canadiens were referred to as Smurfs because they had too many small players. I mean, you got to find the balance. That's what matters.
Yep. So about this will be better. And I really like Sean Farrell. The progression of John at the Roy is amazing. The last couple of months, Philippe Mézard is okay. He struggled a bit on the way, Charlotte, but Henneman scored by the way this week. So 1 goal, 1 assist for him this week. Kidney have an amazing, great start with Gatineau. Beck and Kidney was great this week, by the way, on the OHL. For them. So then the defenseman, we're going to pass this one over there. We're going to finish here for the rest of the night. We almost hit the 60 minutes right there. We know we talk about the preview game, everything like that, play tonight, Winnipeg, blah, blah. What maybe you can tell us a little bit what you're looking for this week? Something specific, what you're looking for the Montreal Canadiens?
Well, I want to see if they can once again bounce back. They haven't won 2 games in a row since late November. The last time they won 2 games in a row was November 23rd and 25th. So that's quite a long time to go without, putting a couple of wins together. Like I said, I don't expect them to do that this week. But for the general team spirit and the morale of the guys. I think it's going to be important to start winning some games soon. So I want to see them bounce back. Maybe they won't win, but I want to see them bounce back and give better effort than they did yesterday.
Yeah, so right. I think you said the right things today at the beginning when you talk about Piqué Subban, the speech of Piqué Subban. I think he make a, I don't know in English, but the flambeau. He carry on the flambeau from Jean Béliveau to him and said this to the player, what he looked like to wear a jersey. And with all the things they talk against him, one thing he did, he show up every night. He gave everything he has for the jersey and the logo from Montreal Canadiens. For me, that's what I remember the most about Piqué Subban during the ceremony last time against the national player. Let's conclude, guys, another episode of the BRUNCH, your Sunday rendezvous. Until the next week, we want to thank Karine and Marko Larabie a little bit earlier. We invite everybody, don't forget to click on the like, subscribe to Hockey Nation show, and I can't wait to see you next Sunday. We wish you an amazing, great week, Karine, for the fully. Do you go to the Montreal game this week or not?
Yeah, I'm going to the one against Winnipeg on Tuesday.
Awesome. Enjoy your evening. Have a great week, Karine.
Thanks, you too.